In this video, I'm going to cover changing the authorization status of the individual. To do this from the individual's record, click on the Carer Authorization section, then click on the Actions item up here, which will show you a list of actions that you can take. In this video, I'm going to cover each of these in turn. The first task is cancelling the carer's authorization. So select this option, then select the reason. Now the first one is authorization cancelled, no concerns. Now this doesn't strictly mean there are no concerns, it just means that the agency has some general concerns about the suitability of an individual to be a carer. Authorization cancelled with concerns could mean that the carer has a sustained allegation or a working with children check bar, or they have not complied with the conditions of authorization in other ways. So select your reason, enter the cancellation date, and then click on Submit. Once a carer's authorization is cancelled and there is only one carer in the household is automatically cancelled as well. Let's go back to the Actions icon, and the next on the list is Surrender Carer Authorization. Again, there are two options. Surrendered by carer, no concerns means that the carer has voluntarily surrendered their authorization for their own reasons without a pending investigation or any other circumstances which would cause the agency some concerns. Surrendered by the carer with concerns means that the carer gave up their authorization whilst an investigation into an allegation was in progress, or some other concerns existed about their suitability to be a carer. You'll notice here, by the way, that there is an instruction to change the carer authorization status as required. This is telling you that the investigation might result in the agency deciding that the authorized carer should be marked as cancelled with concerns. So if this is the case, you will need to go back to the previous task and complete this update. Just to finish off this task, enter the surrender date and then click on Submit. The next task is to suspend the carer authorization. This is an action by the agency either during an investigation or if the carer has been asked to carry out certain actions to maintain their continued suitability as a carer. Another reason for suspending a carer is if they are residing with another applicant or household member who has a working with children check bar or an interim bar. Note that there are no options for the reason. It's auto-populated as suspended. All you need to do is to enter a date and submit. Now, if you do suspend the carer, you can lift the suspension again by going to the Actions icon and selecting Lift Suspension. You will also notice, by the way, that because of the suspension, the list of actions has now been reduced to the options that you can see here. You would lift a suspension if the reason for the suspension was successfully appealed or overturned. The authorization is returned to current and there's no record of the suspension or the appeal in the carer's register. So for this, you just enter a date and click on Submit. Now that we've lifted the suspension, the list of actions returns to the original list. Now we're going to select the Change Decision Correction. This function will be used when you want to change an authorization decision because a data entry error was made in the earlier process, or the carer successfully appeals the decision and it needs to be changed. So for example, cancel with concerns can be changed to cancel with no concerns, and withdrawn without concerns, which would happen during the application stage, can be changed to withdrawn with concerns or simply to restore an application. After clicking on the Change Decision Correction option, you can choose between Approved Previously Authorized or Restore Application, and then click Submit. The next option on the list is to change the authorization type. You may remember that in the application process you have to select authorization type, and there were two options: statutory foster care and other care. Statutory foster care is where the carer is authorized to provide all types of care, including foster care, statutory relative or kin care, and supported out-of-home care. Other care is where the carer is authorized to provide statutory relative or kin care and supported out-of-home care, but not foster care. Change authorization is the function used to change statutory foster care to other care or vice versa after authorization. This might happen if the carer was originally authorised to provide statutory foster care, but over time has decided they only want to provide relative or kin care. The reverse may happen if they were originally authorised to only provide relative or kin care, but now they want to get trained and assessed to provide statutory foster care. To make the change, select the appropriate option from the opt-down list and click on Submit. The final choice is to change the agency reference. This will allow you to enter the number used in certs for this individual, which is very useful for cross-referencing the carer's register with the cert system. So this brings us to the end of managing an individual record.